You're holding out on me, Wolfe, as usual.
Inspector. The man who lies dead on my doorstep was a friend of Mr. Goodwin's. And if you are sensitive enough to have noticed, it has been quite traumatic for him.
All right, I left my manners at the station house. I still want some answers.
You've had the answer, Inspector. Barney Sullivan was my friend. We played football at college. He was tough, competitive. One hell of an athlete. Four of us got together for a reunion a couple months ago. It was a lot of laughs. We ran through some of the old plays. Went through a dozen beer mugs at Sweeney's place for football.
Today, Goodwin, today.
I hadn't seen Barney since that night at Sweeney's. And yesterday, out of the blue, he called.
What about?
He knew I worked for Nero Wolfe. Said he'd run into trouble. Needed some advice.
No specifics?
Well, I guess he was saving that for the meeting.
Inspector? Found it on the roof across the street.
Goodwin, was Barney Sullivan mixed up with organized crime?
Hey, come on. Hell no.
What do you do for a living?
Hospital supply business. And he built it up from nothing, with sweat, not mob juice.
Okay, I only asked.
Yeah, why did you ask?
Just routine.
Yeah.
Goodwin, am I hoping for too much if I ask you to stay out of this one?
Well, you know what Nero Wolfe says. Hope is often disappointment deferred.
Does anybody else know about this?
No, but the odds are Inspector Allison over there will know before the lab is done with it.
Unto Almighty God, we commend the soul of our brother departed, Barney Elliott Sullivan, and we commit his body to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection unto eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
I'll miss you, Barn.
It's just not right. You know? It's just not right.
I've given a lot of thought to what you've asked me, Archie. It's a blank wall. Barney just didn't have any enemies. You remember how it was at school? Everybody liked him. I've searched and searched.
It's okay. It's okay, Mandy.
I can't even think of a reason why he'd need you or Nero Wolfe. Just can't.
Hey, take it easy. Not now.
You will help find this
I'll find him.
person.
It's a promise.
Remember back in school when Paul and Mandy went together?
They were a real thing. I mean, until Barney came along.
Yeah, that was more than just a thing for Paul. Yeah, damn near killed him when she married Barn, you know?
Yeah. I remember.
want your bones to go cold? 2 hours before Barney Sullivan gets iced, police research gets that records checked.
Occupant research on address in the backward Jackson directory. That's 918 35th Street. That's Nero Wolfe's brownstone.
Meaning our own department records help somebody get the Iceman in position.
What about the lab report?
Cartridge is custom tooled cyanide residue like the others. And, Inspector Allison just asked the lab for a copy. Now, what does that tell you?
It tells me that we got a cop who's in someone's pocket.
No, sir, I didn't know that. So I'm supposed to know. I didn't. Yeah, I'll tell him. Yes, sir, the full amount? Right. Dominic. The man says you did good. He also says you should find a new toy.
The piece cost me $2,000. You tell my favorite voice over there, whoever he is. He paid for the hit, not for my piece.
Yeah. Only you didn't tell him you'd already hired it out 3 times.
How do you know that?
He knew because he's in a place to know. And being there is the difference between pulling the trigger and buying it pulled. Capiche?
Are you all right?
Well, I could do without black in my wardrobe for a while. Otherwise, fine.
Our friend in the coroner's office dropped this by earlier.
The autopsy on Barney?
Yes. Page 4, paragraph 6 deals with the forensics of the wound.
Controlled expansion bullets? Traces of cyanide in the wound tract?
Suggesting Barney Sullivan was the victim of a hired assassin.
Also suggesting the police were right. The mob is involved.
An assassin isn't necessarily hired only to expedite business affairs, Archie.
You want to spell that out?
You saw Mandy Sullivan and Paul Hendricks at the funeral. You had a flash of their memory about their past relationship. Perhaps the motive for Barney's murder was personal.
There's nothing going on between Mandy and Paul. She is straight arrow. Besides, if that were the case, she could have just left Barney.
Perhaps she was reluctant to leave his money.
Wrong tree. Now, Brian Stoner told me that Barney's business has been going downhill for 2 years. Mandy's broke. He had to help out just to cover funeral expenses.
Did you happen to apply yourself to the matter of life insurance? I put Saul Panzer on it.
You've been busy. Lab reports, insurance policies.
We're in this case together, aren't you? Remember? Now, you refuse to look in Paul Hendricks' direction or in Mandy's because they're friends. Well, that's loyalty. It's also sentimentality. I'm only suggesting you open your eyes to every possibility. It's $250,000, the figure. You see who the beneficiary is.
Look, who else could it be but his wife?
And it's double indemnity.
Look, we are looking at cyanide bullets. Now, where would somebody like Paul Hendricks hire a professional killer?
You said he was in the vending machine business. That's an enterprise known for its cash flow attraction to the bent nose types. Go see him, Archie. Find out.
Yeah?
What does it take? Half a day to answer the phone?
At 9 in the morning? Yeah. What do you want?
The man wants.
Again?
This time it's special. Real special.
You believe all this started from that one gumball machine I stuck in the fieldhouse locker room?
Terrific, Paul. You come a long way.
I guess all four of us found our own thing. Even old Barney. Listen, Ryan called about having lunch today. He's got some ideas about helping Mandy get back on her feet. You want to come?
Sure.
Great.
Paul, you're still in love with Mandy, aren't you?
Has it been that obvious?
What do you intend to do about it?
Nothing. Help her get back to normal.
And then?
Fade out again.
That doesn't sound like a man in love.
Archie, the day Mandy met Barney, I knew I'd never be any more than just a good friend. All I ever wanted was her happiness. I'm sorry I'm starting to sound like a morning soap. But Archie, you're starting to sound like a detective.
Sorry. Just goes with the territory.
Is that why you came down here? You thought maybe I killed Barney because of Mandy?
Hey, I'm just trying to touch all the bases. It gets to be a habit.
That wouldn't include me, would it?
You got a motive to kill Barney?
No, but if I think one, you'd be the first to know.
Okay. Now that I got that off my chest, whoever killed Barney, find it.
Yeah. Let's go to lunch.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, bro. Hey, what's this all about, Arch?
Looks like Barney got himself in over his head with some pretty nasty characters.
With the mob? Barney?
No way, Arch. No way.
6Y8 to Commander 6Y.
Go ahead, 6Y8.
That appointment you told me to watch. Well, it just went sour.
So the three of you left the building together and provided a collective target, thus leaving us with no means of determining which one of you was meant to be the victim.
Well, any one of us or all of us could have been taken out. But the question is why?
Yes, we are faced with an interesting dilemma. Oh, dear. Oh, that's very bad. Gone. 3 species of voracious insects eliminated. And I'm not even sure that any one of them posed a danger to my phalaenopsis here.
Well, then why get rid of them?
Why, indeed. These orchids have grown up together under my loving tutelage, Archie. From their humble horticultural beginnings, they have achieved perfection. Any threat to their existence must be met with total and merciless retaliation.
I think 3 ex-college football players have just been compared to your greenhouse bugs.
It was merely part of an analysis, Archie. No comparison intended.
You think someone wants us all dead?
Theodore, did you get the insecticide?
Yes, sir. Normally, sir, shopping at a nursery is not quite so eventful. I went for a quart of malathion, and I came back with, what you might call an experience.
What sort of experience?
Hardly been there a minute, sir, when I had a telephone call.
At a nursery?
Yes, a man, no name. He said he had a message for you, Archie, personally.
Okay, give.
You're to be at the West Side Hotel, room 214, at 5 o'clock.
What kind of a voice was it?
Well, it was no particular kind. And he said, be sure to be, be sure to be loose.
West Side Hotel. It's on 23rd, isn't it?
But surely you're not going, Archie.
Do I actually detect a note of concern?
If this rendezvous in room 214 turns out to be a most selective design for your extermination, I would be forced to leave the comfort of my home to claim your remains. Yes, it is of concern.
Well, I wouldn't put you through all that trouble, so I'll be careful.
Oh, Archie, don't forget, be loose.
Theodore, in this particular context, what is loose?
I really don't know, sir.
Hey, Max, a favor. Call the dispatcher. I need a backup cab.
right back.
Hi, Arch. Max said on the radio that you paid him 20 to get me here for an extra 20?
You got it, Al.
You hot?
Lukewarm.
Get inside, quick. Are you loose?
I am now.
Well, you were a follower. Blue sedan, Jersey plates, 196 JBD.
Kramer, what is going on?
Yesterday at the vending machine company, the three of you wondered who was the target. I'm convinced it was you.
What makes you so sure?
Because you're investigating Barney Sullivan's death. Because Barney Sullivan got hit by organized crime, and I am sorry to say I believe that our intelligence officer is on the take.
Allison? Inspector Allison?
Yeah, that blue sedan with the Jersey plates, it's one of Allison's detectives. His name is McNabb.
Those for me? What was Barney's connection with organized crime?
I don't know.
Why'd they have him killed?
I don't know that either.
Great. Cookies and milk? Cop who's playing cloak and dagger? The only thing he knows is that there's a couple of other cops tailing me.
Listen, Goodwin, I had you here because Allison's people are good wire men.
You think the brownstone's being bugged?
When you get home, check it out for yourself.
Well, why would anybody want to bug Wolfe?
3 months ago, a Harlem numbers man was murdered. 3 weeks after that, it's a Brooklyn jukebox operator. And a month after that, it's a labor organizer in Brooklyn, all killed the same way.
Cyanide bullet.
That's right. Mob talent keeping mob discipline. And Barney Sullivan got the same treatment. And that's why I think that he had some kind of mob connection.
So where does Inspector Allison fit in?
At first, I thought it was just case interest on Allison's part, and then all of a sudden, every time one of my people turned up a clue, a witness, a shred of evidence in the other murders, all of a sudden we got a dead end. My witness disappeared, the people we want to talk to, out of town.
A leak in the department.
And until Barney Sullivan was murdered, I was guessing. Now I'm sure.
How so?
Because 2 hours before they got Sullivan, our records department was asked to research Nero Wolfe's address.
Who did the asking?
The authorization came from police intelligence. That's Allison's outfit.
So what's your next move?
Proof. And to keep you and Wolfe alive. Because I know you're not going to quit.
That's right.
Keep it, Al. Nice afternoon's work.
Any time, Arch. You're better than 2 fares to the airport from Arabia.
Well, I certainly hope you had a pleasant afternoon, Archie. Not that you're obliged to call that, of course, just because you're on my payroll. But it would be nice if you would think about communicating every once in a while.
Well, I decided to see a lady friend.
Oh?
It was worth it. You can take it out of my salary.
Yes, I intend to.
Want to laugh?
I am always available for a good laugh, sir.
I think her husband has a private eye tailing me. I lost him at the drugstore. The old jerk must have bought him cheap. The guy was really a lousy surveillance man.
You know, I find your romantic exploits boring, Archie. You must know that you missed a wonderful dinner this evening.
Something special a la Fritz?
Oh, yes, indeed. Lamb kidneys with green peppers, served mountain style with dumplings and burnt sugar. It was really quite inventive, yes.
Sounds okay. How about dessert?
Yeah, something that should have been ordinary. Fritz lifted right to heaven's heights. Deep dish blueberry pie smothered with whipped cream. Now, he does a special thing. He gets the largest blueberries he can find. He takes a hypodermic needle with a very fine point and inserts 1 drop of very, very old, fine, pale brandy.
Sounds almost evil.
It's magnificent. It is so evil, it is beautiful. But then that's part of the satisfaction, isn't it?
How about some classical music to round out the evening,
Some what?
Classical music.
Oh, yes. I think that would be wonderful. You know how I love classical music, Archie. That's wonderful, Archie. Just wonderful. I love your selection. I resent strongly my privacy being invaded by agents of the police.
Kramer thinks Inspector Allison's on the take and feeding information to the mob.
So Allison invents an excuse to come here one day and plants an electronic device to find out what we know. But think, Archie, we were not involved until after your friend Barney Sullivan called and asked to see us.
That's right.
Yet 10 minutes after he called, our address was checked in the police department. Our telephone couldn't have been tapped then, surely. Where was Barney when he made the call, do you know?
His office, he said.
Then that's where we must look for the answer.
Place with the new lady corporate president?
Archie. Yeah, lady president. This lady's a little slow to learn. Been a housewife too long.
Hey, don't let her kid you, Archie. She's soaking up this business like a sponge.
Everybody's been real helpful, especially Brian.
Well, selfish interest. The quicker Manny's in the black, the quicker my company gets paid.
I see.
Hey, look, I got to run or my factory comes to a stop. Archie, you keep digging, huh?
No, you can count on it.
So, did you turn up anything?
Not really. I thought I might sift through the company records. You know, someone Barney might have done business with. It's a reach, but right now anything would help.
What do you need?
Well, just the routine files. Customer lists, billings, accounts receivable. Just the usual stuff, you know?
No problem. I'll get them. All of this should get you started.
Thanks. Mandy, who else had access to Barney's office?
Just about anybody who works here, I suppose. Why?
Just wondering. So it had to be someone inside the company. Whoever it was saw the address on Barney's calendar.
And when that someone learned that the address belonged to a well-known private investigator,
he felt threatened.
Yes. I take it you searched for the interested party.
I narrowed it down to one employee, name of Aaron Keller. I had a check run on him. He served time twice. Barney put him on the payroll 2 months ago. Look at this.
A cash receipt for $70,000. A loan? And those? Weekly disbursements of $700. was stopped a week before Mr. Keller was employed.
That spell usury to you?
And it seems Mr. Keller may be one of those who specialize in siphoning off the liquid assets of a legitimate company.
A favorite mob pastime.
Perhaps we should start stirring the pot, Archie. This time without the lovesick soprano, if you don't mind. Did you see what came in the mail today, Archie? Here, look at this.
Sure puts a new light on the Sullivan case.
Yes, it certainly does, doesn't it? The names do seem to fall neatly into place. Look at this. The first name, Mr. And the second one is hardly more of a surprise. Mr. I think I'll go to bed, Archie. I'm rather tired. You take care of the lights, will you, please?
Thank you, Bert. It's the equipment. Something must have broke. Get to him, McNabb.
Yes, sir.
Now, we play the waiting game. You, sir, in my opinion, are a common burglar and singularly devoid of skill. Aren't you call the police?
I don't try anything, or I'll have to mess up Mr. Wolfe's nice clean carpet.
You wouldn't do that, would you, Archie?
I most certainly would.
Come on now, you know I'm not a crasher.
No? Then what are you exactly?
See, it's not what you think.
I'll have a closer look at that if you don't mind. A black bag specialist, I presume, huh? Come to fix our wiring system and leave a little bug behind.
Hey, wait a minute, you can't do that.
You'd be surprised at what I can do, sir.
What is this, anyway?
Your badge is evidence of illegal entry into my house by a member of New York's finest. I can give it either to my friend on the New York Gazette who specializes in police intelligence operations, or to your Inspector Allison at promptly 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Please tell the inspector the choice is up to him. Now, you may leave through the front door, Officer McNabb.
Stay put. Inspector Allison for Nero Wolfe.
He's expecting you, sir.
Damn it, Wolfe. I want those credentials.
Sit down, Mr. Allison. You bluster just as you did when you were a loft detective. Sit down.
I assume we're being recorded?
You assume as usual an error, sir. I have no need to compromise you any further than you've already compromised yourself.
I haven't admitted to anything.
Then you are prepared to offer a legitimate reason for the presence of your man in my home at 2 o'clock this morning?
Well, first, my man's credentials. Then we can talk on even terms.
You must take me for a fool, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good day, Inspector Allison.
This way, please, sir.
All right, what do you want?
Thank you, Fritz. First, an explanation of when and why you invaded my home with your electronic gadgetry.
The hitman who asked Barney Sullivan
pulled the trigger on 3 others, all connected to organized crime. So I figured, if I could beat Kramer to the punch just once and nail one of the mob's hitmen, I could get back on the right side of a lot of people.
Mr. Kramer, for one?
Inspector Kramer doesn't count. Chalk him up to professional competition.
So you eavesdropped on my house to beat us to the punch as well, eh?
You got a good reputation. And as soon as I realized that you'd be investigating the murder, I figured your information would be worth a hell of a lot more than Kramer's.
Answer this, Mr. Ellison. How is it that my address was run for a name check through police files before the murder?
Who told you that?
Well, it was your unit's authorization number that was used to get the information.
Oh, no, I got a leak in my own outfit. We'll never live down that kind of press.
Perhaps the best method is for the police to clean their own house.
And you have the plan with which we can do it, right?
I do, sir. The plan should find your leak and save you from more unfortunate publicity.
What do you want me to do?
You leave here and inform everyone that you have sufficient information for the arrest of one Aaron Keller, but not before at least 3 hours have passed. Then proceed with the acquisition of a warrant for Mr. Keller's arrest. The information you require is all right here.
Then what?
That, sir, is not your concern at the moment.
Now, wait just a minute.
Good day, Mr. Ellison.
What about my man's credentials?
When you've finished, I'll send them via Mr. Kramer. Professional courtesy, you understand. Now it's up to you, Mr. Kramer. You have less than 3 hours to acquire a legal phone tap on the Sullivan Medical Supplies Company. And this should support your affidavit.
I'll get right on it.
Well, Archie, is the next step ready?
Saul Panzer and Ori Cather are already in place. Shooting spree begins on schedule.
He'll think the mob's after him.
Satisfactory.
Keller?
You better split fast.
What?
The cops have got a line on you. Allison's getting an arrest warrant right now, so start hopping.
That's Marty Thomas, Allison's driver. I'd know his voice anywhere.
We just found the leak.
Those blanks should make a hell of a racket, don't they?
Do they?
It's worth 5 G's if you get me on a Greek freighter, the Circe. Sails at 6:30. I'll put the money together, don't worry. No, I'll call you back.
Circe just sank, Keller. Cops have a piece of paper with your name on it.
Sorry to have disturbed you. Let's go.
And so, with the aid of the company books and Mr. Keller's past connection, we were able to put it together. Keller was an experienced company takeover specialist.
Are you saying that he was in the company with Barney's knowledge?
And against his will, Mrs. Sullivan, your husband had no choice. He was deeply in debt to the loan sharks. He had only one way out.
Run for the right kind of help.
And when he did, he was murdered.
By Keller?
By a professional assassin.
I know I was a suspect because of the way I felt about Mandy. How come you eliminated me?
Well, that's easy, Paul. We were both shot at by the same assassin.
No, Mr. Stoner. That was the charade that changed my thinking.
I don't understand.
Barney Sullivan was killed by a professional from a distance of 100 feet. Later, the same professional missed 3 men from a distance of less than 30 feet. A charade obviously intended to steer suspicion away from Mr. Hendricks and from Mr. Stoner.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you, Mr. Stoner. The man was hired to miss by you through Keller.
That's crazy.
It began to come together when Archie made the phone call to meet you, Mr. Hendricks, at your plant. Was it after that call that Mr. Stoner phoned to invite you to lunch?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yes, our phone was tapped. Mr. Stoner's police informant told him that Archie would be there. He then planned the shooting to take all suspicion away from you, and at the same time from himself.
Yeah, all guesswork.
We shall see, sir.
Hey, you crumb! You had the tip I was going to fall, and you never said a word. I wouldn't have talked, but now they got it all. I even spotted Dominic for him. He won't be shooting at anybody for a long time. I gave it all to them, you hear? It's all over, you lousy crumb.
You had Barney killed?
Mandy, I swear to God I didn't want to. You gotta believe me, I didn't want to. The rest was to protect you and Paul. I thought it would end there. Archie,
Once they have you, they never let go, do they, Mr. Stoner?
I didn't want to hurt Barney. I couldn't help it. He wouldn't pay up. They owned me. My whole company. First it was one loan, then it was another. We were in financial trouble. I couldn't get a bank loan. $50,000 I took from them. It wasn't long before I couldn't pay. Keller moved into my company. They were going to ruin me.
So you joined them?
Well, what else could I do? Go under? I fronted loans. I let them to other companies. It made me rich. Yeah, rich.
Riches that killed your best friend.
They made me do it. They made me solve the problem. They said it was my problem. They told me to solve it or I would...
Or you would be the statistic. Is that it?
I'm sorry. Don't you understand? I lost control. I couldn't do anything else. It was me or Barney. And I wanted to live. And I've been dead ever since.
Come on.
Mr. Kramer, close the door, will you please?